Hello and welcome to another episode of Agribiotech, a program centered on the relevance of biotechnology to agriculture in Nigeria. This program is once again reaching you from South Africa. I am Lara Afolayan. South Africa's Gauteng Province's Innovation Hub was established to promote economic development and competitiveness through innovation and entrepreneurship. The Innovation Hub has put in place a Bio and Agri Park. The Bio Park is to, among other things, help implement the country's bioeconomy strategy. The Agri Park, on the other hand, is to better facilitate agro-processing. Though genetically modified crop producers are not presently part of activities at the moment, there are plans to bring them on soon. I will be visiting the Innovation Hub and these parks in the course of the program today to see activities ongoing there. We shall also be speaking to some Nigerian public institutions as well as Nigerian farmers and seed dealers who have seen the process of biotechnology in agriculture here in South Africa from start to finish. They will be sharing lessons learned from the country. But first, we get to see what's new in agricultural biotechnology around the world. Kenya is to commercialize insect-resistant BT cotton later this year. Director of the country's Horticultural Research Institute, Charles Waturu, presided over the first ever open field planting of 4 varieties of seeds ahead of the launch of commercial planting later in the year. He sees it as a breakthrough in the textile industry, particularly when the government has listed industrialization among its Big Four development agenda. The planting comes barely a year after the country's National Environment Management Authority approved the assessment of the crop for commercial use. The commercial planting of the crop will be open to farmers in the next planting season, with Western Kenya set to take the lead. Kenya produces 20,000 bales of cotton every year, which is far lower than local demand of 140,000. The country imports to make up for the deficit. Kenya's Horticultural Institute feels the country could produce up to 260,000 bales with the introduction of the BT cotton, which is a high-yielding and top-quality variety. The country's textile industry is now headed for a big boost as a journey of more than 15 years of developing the BT cotton reaches its last stage. A team of researchers from the Institute of Molecular Plant Biology in Zurich, Switzerland, has genetically modified one of the most commonly grown varieties of rice. The researchers developed rice lines with iron increases equaling more than 90% of the recommended iron content and up to 170% of the recommended requirement for zinc in rice grains. The team incorporated a genetic composition expressing a combination of 3 additional genes into the rice plants to achieve this enrichment. One of these genes facilitates mobilization of iron stored in the plant vacuoles. Another encodes for an iron-storing protein ferritin, and the third promotes efficient iron and zinc uptake by the roots. The advantage of this new variety over the original one is that it's better at mobilizing cellular stores of zinc and iron and depositing in the white part of the rice grain known as endosperm. This means that the micronutrients are transported and concentrated there. Those researchers are the first to explore this aspect of cellular transport mechanisms of iron and zinc to enrich rice with micronutrients. A newly conducted industry analysis has shown that genetically modified crops provide billions in economic benefits each year, with majority going to farmers in developing countries. The analysis was published in a research paper titled Farm Income and Production: Impacts of Using GM Crop Technology from 1996 to 2016. The paper estimated the value of using genetically modified crop technology in agriculture at the farm level. It follows and updates earlier annual studies which examined impacts on yields, key variable cost of production, direct farm gross income, and impact on the production base of the four main crops of soybeans, corn, cotton, and canola. The commercialization of GM crops has occurred at a rapid rate since the mid-1990s, with important changes in both the overall level of adoption and impact. Its gains have been divided into 48% for farmers in developed countries and 52% for farmers in developing countries. 65% of the gains are from yield and production, with the remaining 35% from cost savings. As I said at the beginning of the program, the Biopark and Agripark were put in place to promote the bioeconomy, farming and agro-processing. On InFocus today, we take a look at what this facility set out to achieve, how much they have indeed achieved, and what they hope to achieve in the future ahead of inculcating agricultural biotechnology into their activities. The Biopark, situated within the Innovation Hub in South Africa's Gauteng province, provides business startup support in health and agriculture, including agro-food processing, bioprocessing, smart agriculture, and industrial biotechnology.
We have a number of a range of companies ranging from cosmetics to straight biotech, high-end biotech. So we have a huge range of those, but importantly there must be companies with inventions, innovations in the biotech space. Of course we are based at the Innovation Hub, so we do have our sister incubation companies which are looking at other programs like ICT and green tech. We specifically look at bio, so the companies that we incubate at the bio are those that are in the biotech industry.
We incubate businesses, small businesses that have relevance to the bioeconomy strategy. So that deal with either health or pharmaceuticals, medical devices, agricultural processing, cosmeceuticals, nutraceuticals, and that sort of line. Because it's part of our national development plan as South Africa. So we know that small businesses and entrepreneurship is very important for the growth of the economy, and it speaks to the stimulation of entrepreneurship in the country as well as small business development, enterprise growth, and the bioeconomy as it is. So healthcare, medical devices, diagnostics, agricultural processing, industrial biotechnology.
If I look back, as Alti started as a small company, but Biopark incubated us for a couple of years, just to give us, a kickstart.
This factory, for example, processes agro crops for skincare purposes.
This is our factory. This is where everything happens, from mixing to the packaging to dispatching to various huge suppliers that we have. We manufacture skincare products, so yeah, we mainly use marula oil as the primary, as the key ingredient. We use the oil which is extracted from the kernels of the seed of the fruit. That's the oil that we use to manufacture, to help in the formulation of our products.
There are efforts ongoing to add value to genetically modified crops at this facility soon.
It's not a specific requirement as to have genetically modified specialties here, but we do have companies that play in the food security sector using other forms of technologies. Of course, we'd like to have companies that are high-end live biotech, especially in crop science, and it's something that we are working hard on.
Not too far from here is an agri-park linked to the biopark where farmers are trained on best farming practices and food processing. Genetically modified crops are soon to be brought on board here.
Well, on a daily basis here, when we enter in the morning, we are harvesting the tomatoes. It's the first thing when we arrive here. We are harvesting, and then after harvesting, we are picking the tomatoes in the pack house. After picking the tomatoes in the pack house, we are coming here and pruning the plants. After pruning the plants, we are cleaning. And then if we are not doing that, I'm spraying. I'm spraying once a week. So that's our schedule.
My exit from the Innovation Hub took me to the eastern part of the country, where I visited the Water Efficient Maize for Africa WEMA project site. The WEMA project is a public-private partnership aimed at improving food security and rural livelihoods among smallholder cereal producers in Africa. WEMA has helped in the promotion of the growth of genetically modified maize in South Africa. It was here I met Professor Kingston, who manages the project.
And as you can see, the yield is quite reasonable despite the severe drought that we had in this country this past summer season. So essentially, this is good quality grain. If there had been issues with the stalk borer, you would have all kinds of grain damage, and of course the associated mycotoxins that would be produced by the fungi that affect the grain if it has been damaged by stalk borer.
Okay, so this is perfectly safe to eat.
So this is perfectly safe to eat. If anything, it's much safer than conventional, because in terms of conventional, you tend to get damage by stalk borer and then secondary infections from fungi that cause ear rots.
Okay.
And those then produce mycotoxins, which are actually carcinogenic.
All right.
But for BT maize, the quality is good, it's perfect, safe.
My visit ended with a tasty pap meal made from genetically modified maize. Right before me is a plate of a local South African dish called pap. Pap is also known as tuwo masara in Nigeria because it's made from maize, and this particular one is made from the genetically modified maize. I'll be having a taste of it just to know what exactly it feels like. Not bad at all. It tastes really good. The water deficiency that affects South Africa is expected to be tackled with the WEMA maize that would be distributed to the country's farmers this year. South Africa saw economic gains valued at $2.1 billion from genetically modified crops between 1998 to 2015. Next, I speak with some of the beneficiaries at the center. Then I move to the greenhouse farm at the Agri-Park section of the Innovation Hub, where I get to ask questions on the situation of things there. And joining me on the program is the CEO of Altes Biologics, Dr. Nicholas Dunias. His company has benefited from the activities of the biopark. Good to have you join me on the program.
Thank you so much for your kind invitation.
Okay. I'd like to find out how your company came about accessing biopark services in the first place.
Yes, the biopark is an incubator that offers startups a program, the Maxim Incubator Program, and we were very kindly invited by the Chief Executive of the Innovation Hub, Mr. McLean Sibanda, to become a beneficiary of this very, very excellent incubation program. And we signed the program in 2012. and later for the biopark in 2015.
And how relevant do you think Biopark's activities are to South Africa's bioeconomic needs?
The biotechnology sector in South Africa is languishing behind those biotechnology economies of other more developed nations. The government has got a specific biotechnology program to stimulate the growth of the biotechnology sector. Therefore, the biopark is playing a very, very important role. It's one of very few science parks in South Africa that are focusing specifically on biological life sciences. So we are able to take an agricultural byproduct such as bone tissue and such as tendons from slaughterhouse animals such as porcines and bovines, and we are able to extract high value biological substances, materials, which can be made into sophisticated biomaterials used in medicine. And this is a very good example how South African agri-processing sector can provide byproducts into the medicines and therapeutics bioprocessing sector such as ours, so that we can beneficiate those materials into high-value products.
I'm right now standing in a greenhouse farm for tomatoes within the Innovation Hub. It is the Agri-Park specifically where a lot of tomato growing happens. And to speak on what happens here, I have with me the General Manager, Agricultural Biotechnology of Africa Bio, Bongani Maseko. It's good to have you join me on.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Could you explain to me what exactly goes on here?
Well, Agri-Hubs it's a union initiative by the provincial government of Gauteng, and this facility itself was just only inaugurated 3 months ago. So this is a fresh initiative. It is aimed at improving food security in urban areas, as well as to create jobs.
I know that cotton is 100% genetically modified here, the same for soybeans, and maize over 80%. So I'm wondering, if South Africa produces so much of such commodities by genetically modifying them, why are they not given the opportunity to also grow here to improve yields?
All right, there are a number of reasons for that, and it's very important to also mention that, when you look at crops such as maize and soy, these are major staple crops, grain crops that are used for a multiple industries. So those industries were much more open to the technology. So that is why, in my view, I understand that certain crops such as maize and soy and cotton received much more positive acceptance from the market perspective, because the industry is supportive of the technology. There are no genetically modified crops that are being processed at the hub. The whole idea of at the biopark is promoting the bioeconomy with a specific focus on health products, as well as agricultural of the nutraceuticals, cosmeceuticals, as well as indigenous knowledge systems, or indigenous knowledge produced produced products, if I would say that. So that particular focus is part of the bioeconomy strategy. It's very important to mention that, as I've already indicated, the costs of doing this type of research it's very capital intensive, all right? So the biopark is mainly focusing on small SMMEs, and small SMMEs do not have that capacity to produce those type of products. And at this stage, we haven't had any entrepreneur that has the ability at this stage and capacity to develop genetic modified crops, be it tomato, be it potatoes, at this particular stage. But it doesn't rule out the fact that there is a possibility.
How soon may we likely see such, and what steps are being made to
in fact, there
make it happen?
Yeah, there are quite interesting developments in the area of genetic modification, but not necessarily in agriculture. It's actually in area of bio vaccines or plant-based vaccines. So there are small companies that are developing vaccines using even tomato, for example, for vaccines, but that research is conducted outside this particular facility. But the companies are already in process of developing those plant-based vaccines. So there are companies that are working in that space, but they happen not to be incubated at the Innovation Hub at this stage.
Promoters of biotechnology in Nigeria were with me at the Innovation Hub and also visited farms where genetically modified crops are grown in South Africa, and they had this to say.
No, what we learn is what South Africa did not initiate this. They just saw it is beautiful technology, it is a very useful technology, and they make their farmers profit from it. They didn't stop and listen to all these anti-GMO groups going around beating drums about falsified stories about GM crops. South African, they took the responsibilities. It is up to the government. They took the responsibility. It is the government and the Minister of Agricultural job to bring any good technology to their farmers. So they did it. They didn't stop. They didn't let themselves being hampered or inhibited by anti-GMO feelings and orders. And the cotton is they have good production of cotton, as you have seen the field. It is everywhere white. The GM cotton is doing very well and farmers are making money. So this is what the most important thing. We need to think for ourselves and get our farmers out of poverty. The Agri-Part is a very, very good initiative, and it is a good vitrine. It's something like you can expose the available agricultural technology. Especially the Agri-Parts, I like it. It is expensive. This one, they took it the best sides. They took high-value crops, like vegetable crops, to apply this, the technology we have seen in the Agri-Park, mostly what we did. And it can be done anywhere. It is not that expensive. It is, if it came to value crop like tomatoes and other vegetable crop, it can easily be duplicated in any African country. The most interesting thing about South Africa is what these things are not done by NGOs, they are done by local people. I think anybody who is in Nigeria who had the chance to visit South Africa to see what they are doing, because you always learn from someone else. You always learn from someone else. I think the progress done in South Africa should be documented for Nigerians to follow. But because not everybody will have a chance to visit South Africa. But at least the one who did should give fairly accurate reports of what have been seen, so that maybe few groups in Nigeria will stand up and try to duplicate it. We need to think for ourselves, that's all, and take. Whenever technology is good, whatever technology exists in the world, no matter where it exists, if it is good for, we think it is good for our people, bring it to our people. What it allows me is, I will just tell people I was in South Africa. I have seen South African small farmers using BT cotton and growing BT maize and making a lot of money. And nobody is hurt, nobody is dying, and they love it. And the government is helping them, and other organizations are helping them. And the organization I work for is part of it, these initiatives, and this is the same thing we want to duplicate in Nigeria. There is no other way to get out of poverty than to bring science and technology. Japan doesn't have raw materials. Japan is not a raw material producing country. But Japan is one of the richest countries in earth. In Israel, it even doesn't rain. Israel doesn't have rain. They don't have rain. Egypt doesn't have rain. It doesn't rain in Egypt. Egyptians get rain maybe once every 20 years. Do they produce enough food? Do Israel and Egypt, do they produce enough food? We got plenty of rain in our countries. So why don't we produce enough food? Because we don't have science and technology, period. If you look at many European countries, they don't have no resource material. They don't have natural resource material. What do they have? Science and technology. So it is to fight against poverty, you need science and technology. There is no other way around.
And that brings us to the end of today's program. Send in your mails to the email address as shown on your screen, which is agribiotech1@yahoo.com. Tweet at us at agribiotech13 or send us your comments via our Facebook page, Agribiotech on TVC. I am Lara Afolayan. It's bye for now.